The Godfather's Code, why the rich give gifts to the poor, and why you should too. I want to tell you a story about a man who rose from the gutters of Shanghai to become its emperor. His name was Du Yush. He was not a saint, far from it, but he understood one fundamental truth about human nature that most people ignore. And that truth is this: relationships are not about friendship. They are about leverage. When I was broke, I used to wonder, why would a rich person ever want to be friends with me? What can I possibly offer them? I thought I had nothing, but Du Sheng taught me that even when your pockets are empty, you still have currency. You have the currency of loyalty, of gratitude, and of emotional debt. Most people think of gift-giving as a social obligation. You give a gift because it's Christmas, or a birthday, or because you want something in return immediately. That is the mindset of the poor. It's transactional. It's small. The wealthy view gift-giving completely differently. To them, a gift is an investment. It is a seed planted in the soil of another person's psyche. And like any good investment, they don't expect a return tomorrow. They expect a return 10 years from now, when that seed has grown into a tree that can shelter them from a storm. Du Xing was famous for this. He would buy expensive paintings and antiques, not to hoard them, but to give them away. He would invite people to his home. And if someone admired a vase, he would say, "Take it. It's yours." No strings attached. Why? Because he knew that the moment that person walked out the door with that vase, they carried a psychological debt that was heavier than gold. He wasn't buying their friendship. He was buying their future loyalty. He was operating like a venture capitalist of human relationships. He knew that if he invested in 100 people, 99 might take the gift and run, but just one might become the next general, or the next tycoon, or the next political leader who could save his life. And that one return would pay for all the losses 1,000 times over. I see so many people trying to network by handing out business cards or buying a round of drinks, expecting an immediate favor. That is not networking. That is begging. If you want to enter the circle of the elite, you have to stop acting like a beggar and start acting like a patron. Even if you have very little money, you can still give. Let me give you a modern example. There is a famous actor who started as a peasant with no connections and no looks, but every year, without fail, he sent gifts to a famous director. Not expensive gifts, just local produce from his village. Rice, millet, simple things. He did this year after year when he was nobody. Other people sent gifts once or twice and then stopped when they didn't get a role. They felt entitled to a return, but this actor kept giving with zero expectation. Eventually, the director noticed the consistency. He noticed the gratitude, and he gave the actor a chance that changed his life. The actor understood the long game. The others were playing the short game. So, how do you apply this? If you are broke, you have to understand that the best gifts are often not physical. The wealthy don't need your money. If you try to impress a billionaire with a $500 watch, you look foolish. But if you give them an idea, if you give them loyalty, if you give them a perspective they've never heard before, that is priceless. When I was a student, I had no money, but I was obsessed with books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I used my book vouchers to buy multiple copies. I met wealthy business owners at events, and instead of asking them for a job, I gave them the book. I shared my insights. I talked about philosophy and trends. I became the only student at the dinner table because I wasn't asking for a handout. I was offering intellectual value. I was feeding their minds. That was my gift. And in return, they opened doors for me that money couldn't buy. Think about Warren Buffett. People pay $19 million to have lunch with him. Do they think the steak is worth $19 million? No. They are paying to create a moral obligation. When Buffett accepts that money, even subconsciously, he feels a need to provide value in return. It creates a bond. The highest level of gift-giving is when you give so generously that the receiver feels a deep, internal need to help you succeed, just to balance the scales of the universe. But here is the most critical part. You must give before you need. Do not wait until you are in trouble to burn incense at the temple. You must burn incense when your life is perfect. You must build the bridge before you need to cross the river. If you only give gifts when you need a favor, it's a bribe. If you give gifts when you need nothing, it's a bond. And don't just target the rich. The smartest investment Du Shang ever made wasn't in politicians. It was in the poor. He remembered what it was like to be starving on the streets. So when he had money, he fed the poor. He helped the helpless. He famously said, "Send charcoal in the snow. Do not add flowers to the brocade." Helping someone who is already successful is nice, adding flowers. But helping someone who is desperate, sending charcoal, creates a loyalty that is unbreakable. Those poor kids he helped, they grew up to be his fiercest protectors. So, here is my challenge to you. Audit your relationships. Are you a transactionalist, or are you an investor? Do you give to get, or do you give to grow? Start small. If you can't afford a gift, give a compliment. Give a book recommendation, Haibe, Yore, Time. But give it strategically, consistently, and without immediate expectation. Stop trying to be interesting. Start being interested. Stop trying to be rich. Start being generous. Because in the end, your net worth is just a reflection of your network. And your network is built on the seeds you plant today, not the fruit you try to steal tomorrow. Be like the Emperor of Shanghai. Plant the seeds, water them with patience, and watch your empire grow.